What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. So this fight has been officially announced, and let me just start off by saying that yes, in my other video I did express my want to see Roman Gonzales versus either the Cuadras rematch or Naoya Inoue. So I mean, you could say that, you could safely assume that I'm a little bit disappointed, and I am, but it's boxing, so I don't get mad if I don't see the fight that I want to see. Sometimes it bugs me, other times it doesn't, but particularly this situation or this fight, it doesn't bug me so much after, you know, you do the research on Gonzales' opponent. I don't know how to pronounce his name, and I'm not gonna butcher his name. I'll just call him Sor or Sir. But I did some research on him, and I'll admit, the only fight I've seen from this guy really is his fight with Carlos Cuadras. So I'm not very well known on him, but since the talks have started, I've been watching his fights and kind of looking at his resume and, you know, seeing what he's done. Now, he's a pretty good fighter. He's definitely going to be a tough challenge for Roman Gonzales. And for the people, and then just another kind of quick thing before I get too much into the video, is that I understand people express a lot of disappointment with this fight also, particularly some other channels. I think they're using this opponent to kind of clown Roman Gonzales a bit, you know, talk about his pound for pound status and this and that, whatever. You guys know how I feel about the pound for pound thing. I don't really care for it. Doesn't really matter to me. If a boxer's a good boxer, then I could honestly care less where he ranks on the pound for pound, or if he even does. But what bugs me though is that the guy is relatively unknown in America. Alright, that's no secret there. Alright, so yeah, a lot of people are gonna assume that this guy is not a threat to Roman Gonzales. He's just a nobody and yada yada yada. This, and you know, the type of shit disappointed boxing fans say. But if you do your research on paper, or just kind of look at this guy's ratings, alright? On BoxRec, ranked number 9 115 pounder. Ring Magazine rated number 4 at 115 pounds. And the WBC has him ranked number 2, which means he is the mandatory for Roman Gonzales' WBC belt. Alright, so I don't see the issue here. Now, in my last video, I did say that I would be disappointed if Roman Gonzales didn't fight either Inoue, Cuadras, and I think I even mentioned Estrada in there somewhere. But I also said that it would disappoint me even more if he fought somebody who wasn't at least a top 10 115 pounder. You know what I'm saying? Someone who's put in the work, someone who's earned the title shot, someone who's been in there with some good fighters. So I don't see the problem. You know, honestly, that's the one thing that makes me want to see this fight, is that Sor Rungvisai, I'm gonna just go ahead and try to pronounce his last name, Rungvisai, he's put in his work. You know what I'm saying? And he's fought his way to where he needs to be now. So I'm not so disappointed with it. Honestly, I'm actually kind of glad this has happened. And then not to mention, I've watched his fights. He's a good fighter. He's a pretty decent boxer. And he's a real tough motherfucker too. So I don't expect Roman Gonzales to, you know, steamroll this dude or just fly right by him. But I mean, I do favor Roman Gonzales, obviously, but I don't think it's gonna be as easy as fight as people are making it out to be. And that's the thing. I mean, guys, if you are looking for top fighters to have mega fights every single fight, you're going to be a very disappointed boxing fan. It does not work that way. It doesn't work that way. And I'll get into it more on another video. I'll probably make a video touching down on this subject. And it's cool because I brought it up to another, you know, another YouTube channel, another guy who has a YouTube channel that, you know, a lot of you guys probably know. I won't talk about him on this video, but I'll maybe on the video that I do make about this subject, you know, I'll mention his name then. But the thing is a lot of boxing fans don't have a lot of boxers that they are that they back or that they support. You know, not. I mean, maybe, you know, a lot of the hardcore fans, they have a pretty wide variety of fighters that they enjoy watching or fighters that they support, you know, but more so if every boxing fan took the time to at least discover a new fighter every other day, or someone that they enjoy watching, or just take the time to scope out fighters in general, maybe they would be less disappointed. You know, and then maybe if more boxers had support from all different types of fans, we would get to see bigger fights, because every fight would seem like a bigger fight. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you guys calling a fighter a bum or a bitch or a faggot or he's nobody, who has he fought, who is he, you're not really doing the sport a favor. You know what I'm saying? If you want to detract every fighter that you don't know by name, then you're not really doing the sport a favor. You know, then why don't we just kick every guy that you don't know out of the sport, and then we'll keep the fighters that you do know, and then that's it. Then we're very limited there. You understand, right? And this is why I push that introduce somebody to boxing. You know, introduce somebody to boxing, get somebody a new fan, but encourage them to discover boxers that they like. Not just the famous ones like the Canelos, the Triple Gs, the Terrence Crawfords, the Manny Pacquiaos, the Roman Gonzales, the Andre Wards, you know what I'm saying, the Sergey Kovalevs, the more popular names in boxing today. If you only support those fighters, then we're only gonna see those fighters. You know what I'm saying? That's the only fighters that we're ever really gonna be exposed to. If you wanna see more fights that'll mean more to you, discover more boxers. You know what I'm saying? Look out for like the Donnie Nietes and, you know, the Naoya Inoue and, you know, the Evgen Hitrovs, Emmanuel Alim, who they have a match that I actually feel is gonna be like one of my matchups of the year, given their style. It just makes for such a great. I just know that it's gonna make for such a good fight. You know, the Shalesti Ukes, the Rashidi Ellis. You know what I'm saying? Like fighters like that. You know, fairly unknown boxers to, you know, the mainstream boxing scene, or to a lot of the casual fans. You know, but who are really good boxers and who can really make some shit happen. You know, or Sergey Devryanchenko, or, you know what I'm saying? Like fighters like that. Once you broaden your variety of fighters that you enjoy watching, or that you at least know and seen them fight, and you could be like, yeah, they're pretty good boxers, you know? Forget the fact of who they're fighting, you know what I'm saying? If you feel like they're bums, you're still not doing anybody any fucking favors, you know what I'm saying? But you don't look at resumes so much. Look at how they fight. Look at the way they fight, and get excited about that. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't know too much about the technicality of what's going down inside of the ring, you know, do some research, you know, learn a little bit about boxing, you know, the fundamentals of boxing, the more advanced portions of boxing, you know, and not just punching, defense, you know, positioning, your feet, everything. You know what I'm saying? You kind of get a little bit of knowledge on that. You kind of learn to respect more of what fighters do inside of the ring, you know, which it could mean the difference of you becoming a fan. You know what I mean? Now, you guys know that there are two particular boxers that I don't really support, alright? And it's because I don't really care for what they do inside of the ring. It's not anything to do with them outside of the ring. I don't have some sort of hatred for them, or I don't like them or whatever. I mean, maybe I don't like them all that much, but nevertheless, I don't hate them, alright? And that's Andre Ward and Vladimir Klitschko. You guys know I've mentioned this before, alright? I don't like the way that they fight in the ring. Vladimir Klitschko, he's a very successful heavyweight. He's been in the game a very long time, has a very respectable resume and respectable accomplishments, and he'll probably a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? He's done a lot in the sport, and he's done a lot for the sport as well. He's got K2 promotions. You know, he's getting fighters like Gennady Golovkin, you know, backing them, and you know what I'm saying? He's contributing to the sport, if you will. But I don't really care for what he does inside of the ring. You know, he's a pretty basic fighter in my opinion. You know, and with like the Alexander Povetkin fight and the clinching and the dirty tactics, same goes with Andre Ward. Probably the dirtiest fighter I've ever laid my eyes on. I'm not a supporter of it. I don't care for for jabbing and wrestling and, you know what I'm saying, or trying to take your fucking fighter down, or throwing purposeful elbows. Even if the other guy was dirty, you're still throwing purposeful elbows and headbutts, and I don't care for, or low blows like a motherfucker. I don't care for that shit. You know what I mean? That ain't boxing to me. That's a street fight. You go to fucking, you know what I'm saying, take the gloves off and go fight out in the street. I'll respect you a little bit more for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a street fight, then anything goes. There are no rules, which I totally understand. I've been in a few myself. But in a boxing ring, there are rules for a reason. It's a sport. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to get too much into that. You guys already know how I feel about that. You know, if you don't think Andre Ward's a dirty fighter, then maybe you need a magnifying glass. You need some magnifying glass, bifocals, and, you know what I'm saying, like 300% zoom times 100 slow motion in each one of his fights, and then maybe you'll be able to see it. Unless you're just really not looking for it, then I can't tell you shit. But like I said, man, if you're gonna bash Roman Gonzales for fighting this guy, then you might as well bash every fighter for fighting somebody who's at the top of their division. And it makes no difference. You know what I mean? But if you're complaining about this fight and you care about competitive fights, then if you compare, like, I'll say it this way: if you complain about not having competitive fights, but then you complain about this fight, then stop watching boxing, or shut the fuck up and deal with it, because you're not gonna get everything you want in boxing. It's fucking impossible. Alright, you're only disappointing yourselves. You know, I had a guy comment to me, you know, just today actually, on one of my Golovkin videos, and he just fucking, it was a shitstorm on Golovkin. It was open season on Golovkin from one of his comments. And I just, you know, and I responded, you know, I defended Golovkin for certain things and, you know, and whatnot, and told him, I was like, look, you could be and Canelo was a big part of his argument too, so I told him, I was like, hey, I understand that Canelo's a tough fight for Triple G. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of Canelo. It is possible to be a fan of both fighters. You don't have to fucking pick sides. You know what I'm saying? The sport isn't divided and we have a group of fighters on this side and a group of fighters on that side, and you have to fucking pick which side you're on. It doesn't work that way. That shit hurts boxing. You know what I'm saying? And I told him, you know, relax, chill out, enjoy boxing, support more fighters, look for more fighters to support, and then maybe you'll be a little bit more satisfied, you know? And then you got media members who do the same shit, people who have so much fucking pull over fans in boxing that want to talk shit like, who is this guy, and why is he fighting him, or I would have preferred to see him fight the #1 guy at this division. Then they're fucking dreamers too. That shit's reaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm your average fucking Joe, alright? Your average Joe. I'm no media member in boxing. I have fucking damn near 0 affiliations with boxing, you know, in a professional sense or whatever. But at least I know the difference between reaching and being fucking realistic. You know what I'm saying? Don't feed bullshit to the fans like, oh, well, this dude's a nobody, so this fight's a piece of shit, this fight's shit, it's gonna suck, and yada yada yada, just because they don't know who he is, the guy that, let's say, Roman Gonzales is fighting. You know what I'm saying? Or big YouTubers that fucking make titles like, well, meet Roman Gonzales' next opponent, like it's supposed to, like it's a fucking bad thing. Okay, he didn't get the Quadras rematch. Cool, it's whatever. I'm a little disappointed about that. I'm not gonna lie. He didn't fight anew. I'm very disappointed about that, but it's cool. It's whatever. Instead, he chooses to fight someone who's within the top 10 of his division, damn near on everybody's list. You know what I'm saying? I don't know him, so I can't rank him. I don't do the ranking thing, but you got some credible lists out there who, you know what I'm saying, put this guy within their top 10. So yeah, I'm gonna believe that he's a top 10 fighter. If the WBC ranking has him at #2 and he holds the WBC silver belt and he's the #1 mandatory for Roman Gonzales' WBC world title, then I'm gonna be okay with it. Because Roman Gonzales has a duty as a champion, and that duty is to either unify with other champions, voluntarily defend his title against top 10 or, you know, top fighters in his weight division, or give the mandatories who worked hard to get where they are a title shot, because they deserved it. Some more than once deserved it. didn't get it, but they worked their way right back up those rankings and go for it again. You know what I'm saying? So chill the fuck out. Find more boxers to support and enjoy boxing, and quit being so fucking nitpicky about the fights you want to see. And if you don't get to see those fights, then fuck the fighters that they're fighting. You know what I'm saying? Chill the fuck out with that shit. That shit's for the birds, dude. That shit is for the birds. Crumble that shit up and fucking feed it to the birds. But like I always say, introduce somebody to boxing. Encourage them to discover more than 5 fucking boxers. You know what I'm saying? And make them happy fans. And then let the fighters do what they do. You know what I'm saying? But like the video, share the video with your boxing homies, subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you guys on the next one. Peace out.